Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2020. I'm Atlas, joined by LS, and we need a bit of distraction on a day like today, and T1 versus Gen.G is a pretty good one. Both of these teams vying for the top of the standings, although they can't make it into first, no matter how much winning they can do. DRX haven't been very good at losing so far this season, and therefore they're going to hold on to that top spot. Gen.G, I believe, can make second with a 2-0 or a 2-1, but the crazy thing is T1 can get from 6th place to ahead of Gen.G if they 2-0 them here, which is just nuts.
That's going to be the important thing to look for here. T1 are looking very shaky so far. It is very early on into the split. I'm actually not really that worried. I hesitate to even really say that it's shaky. Their drafts are just... get the coin ready. That's literally it. If they're even or ahead coming out of draft, they're going to win. If they're behind, they might make it a 40-50 minute nail-in-the-biter.
Yeah, and then mechanics will win in the end, or the fact that Teddy's flame horizoned everyone on the map, or something like that. But we're going to have a look at the points of the match. Of course, this is a rematch of the Spring Finals. But Gen.G are now playing much better than they were back then. I felt like even at the beginning of the season, in their match against DRX, Gen.G looked a little bit worrisome. MSC, there were certainly some down moments, but I think the main person that really has turned things around is Clid. Clid's performance, recently at least, has just been outstanding. Like he had some games where things were just disastrous earlier on in the split, but now he's putting his team on his back and allowing his amazing carries to do their amazing carry things. One of them being Ruler with his god tier. Kiting currently played Ashe 6 times, which is just a little bit nutty.
Yeah, and Gen.G, I mean, they've always been looking actually very stable for the last couple of months. Match history 7 versus 19.
Not great stats for Gen.G.
Not really great stats, but this is easily considered one of the best iterations of Gen.G that has existed in a long time. So,
and also their matches went the distance regardless, right? You remember back to the spring regular season, it was 3-game series both times, and yes, T1 won both times, but they were close. The final was not. Gen.G fans definitely want to forget that one. T1 just rolled them over very, very quickly. But as you can see now, Gen.G's stats certainly looking better than T1's. And it's Gen.G that have found their form much earlier here in summer. But this is something that T1 does, right? They're slow starters in every tournament that they're ever in. They slowly move their way into being the best team in the tournament. So we'll see whether T1's going to continue down that track or whether the competition is just too good this time around.
Yeah, and I really like the average loss time stat. Both of these two teams, when you bring them down, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
That is what that stat is referring to. And so, we'll see here what T1's going to manage to do. Now, they're actually starting this match on the red side, which is their worst color. By far, they cannot seemingly utilize the advantages that red side should be able to give you, and I think it's no coincidence that Red wants you to draft well.
Yeah, I think it's the drafting thing that we're going to talk about again. I want to mention the fact that it's Kellen playing once more. Life has not picked up the support role for this series, and that means that Gen.G believes that Kellen is in fact their best support at this particular point in time. And he had a good series last time out. We'll see how he's going to do now as we move over to the T1 roster. And I know you guys have had a lot of questions about this, but it will, because starting over LM played their entire last series, and now it's all of the experience to be put into this roster. Canna up there towards the top side, still a rookie, but of course has been performing very, very stably in his recent performances, so very, very good. Faker in the mid lane, of course, doesn't need very much of an introduction, and Teddy and Effort towards the bottom side. We'll see how Effort's going to play. I feel like he either pops off or pops, and I'm not entirely sure what we're going to get here, but we're comparing Ruler and Teddy, two of our most veteran players here in the LCK. I believe it's these two in depth. If you're going to talk about veterans in the AD carry role, really epitomizing the Korean AD carry, it is these two players plus the DRX AD carry.
Yeah, and I mean, Teddy versus Ruler is pretty good key player matchup. One of the best that we can have in LCK. And pay no attention to the Jin Air green wings. That was just so that he could get the superior wings, which were the T1 wings. So
you need a wing upgrade. You know?
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You have to make sure that you go up through the hierarchy and get yourself to the top, and Teddy has achieved that one. So we're going to have a look at some of the stats here. Yeah, gold per minute is absolutely what Teddy is the best at, because he gets more minions than are on the map. It's impossible for him not to be first.
Well, I mean, you take a look at Ruler, and that is pretty close.
Yeah, actually,
that is
very right.
Extremely close. 7 gold difference per minute.
Damn, they are so close.
They're so,
Second and third is for KDA. First and second in gold per minute.
Teddy, with 0 isolated deaths, is pretty interesting. And I wonder how that stat is actually calculated, because I have 2 images in my head of him dying by himself. So I don't know what goes into isolated deaths.
Maybe there was a
I can
Yumi
think of 2
there?
immediately. No, there wasn't a Yumi. So I'm
not sure either. Ruler, though, has been getting caught out. In quite a few instances. This is something that we did brought up last time he was on the desk. I believe it was last Sunday. And just sort of pointing out that Ruler hasn't necessarily had the same positioning that he's had in previous seasons. Might be with the fact that Gen.G have been trying to go for more of an aggressive playstyle, and still haven't quite figured out exactly what that looks like for this squad. I think there has been a lot of adaptation for a lot of our teams, and so certainly some teething to be going on here as we check out effort. Looking pretty serious moving into this one. However, Clid, the man who defected from T1, moved over to Gen.G and is now ready to take them on anew.
Yep.
Clid up against Cuz is going to be an interesting one.
The other thing about this matchup that is so interesting for both of these 2 teams is when you look at the series that they both have remaining. And T1, they face Solid 1 Prince next after this, then Dynamics, then KT. That is a pretty T1 favored road that they're about to go on. Gen.G, their last match of the split is against Afrika, but before that they play Hanwha Life. And so both of these 2 teams, this win to conclude round 1 is super important. T1 does not want to drop the series here and go 3-3.
I mean, this is their ability to stay at the top of the standings, right?
Yes.
Like, if T1 loses here, then they are going to be fighting for 4th. They're going to be fighting for a possible 3rd, maybe, if they're lucky. But it's going to be very hard to get ahead of teams like Dam1, definitely teams like DRX. So I don't know whether T1's going to really be able to bounce back, at least in round 1, if they lose to Gen.G here. So this is very, very important for them. And we are deep into Champion Select already, as the set and TF are taken away by Gen.G, followed up by the Trundle, and that is Callista and Karma to be taken by T1, as Varus is standing out a little bit as far as ban option.
I mean, they have to ban it.
If you don't ban Varus against Ruler, you have to be trolling, right?
Troll 1. I mean, that's what's going on, I guess, if that ends up happening.
Well, oh, that's a Lee Sin ban. Okay. Well, so this is a mind game, right? So Ezreal's going to be locked in instead of the Varus. I actually think that I like that, because you build a lot of armor against lethality Varus. It does work. However, Varus is just extraordinarily strong, and you probably should just pick it, right?
So if I'm not so totally sure. So I thought maybe T1 was thinking that they would go for the Ezreal approach, but no, actually Varus is just going to get through with neither team picking him.
It's the first time that we're not going to see Varus, most likely, unless T1's just going to like smash Azir here and then BDD plays lethality Varus mid or something like that.
I suppose that Varus could end up appearing in the mid lane, but this is going to be really interesting because Gen.G, they open B1 Ezreal, T1 immediately respond to Philios. Now T1 is actually blind picking in a way, because Ezreal versus a Philios in a vacuum is not really the most important thing. Ezreal actually does beat him in a vacuum, so it really matters about the surrounding champions. So when T1 has to pick first now, the pairing champion with Aphelios, Ezreal's team gets to respond first. So in a weird way, T1 are actually on blue side here, and Gen.G are on red.
It's very, very strange. Gen.G can lock away Yuumi now and deny the Yuumi combo with the Bard, but with the Olaf, but Bard Ezreal has been extraordinarily strong, and that's where Gen.G are going to land, and it does dissuade T1 from locking a Yuumi, and therefore they are going to pick up the Thresh. Which,
Olaf, yeah. Olaf picked up, and now they're pairing it with Thresh. Now, Volibear is, I'm going to say 99% of the time in jungle.
Oh, especially if it's good, right? His performance was so good.
It's going to be in the jungle, and I like Olaf. I'm liking that we're going to get to see Olaf versus Volibear because they are from basically the same family tree, and how they approach the jungle. It's Olaf, Volibear, and Set, and then their estranged sister Vi, who we don't talk about. She doesn't get picked up.
Wow,
but
here comes Vi.
So that is going to be pretty interesting. So Volibear is going to have a better mid and late game than Olaf. Olaf can actually outspeed Volibear at some points, but in the 1v1 of the 2v2, Volibear should actually also have an edge. So it only matters if T1 was trying to play for lane priority and control around dragons in particular, but I'm looking at this as the initial picks is favoring Gen.G every day of the week as we move into the second phase, because T1 are blind picking now.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And also, Gen.G's composition's already looking like it's cohesive, right? Especially when you've got, like, Clid with his own Wrecker ultimate into a Tempered Fate. They can stop a turret from working for so many seconds in a row. It's insane. Tower dives are going to be nutty once Bard hits level 6. Towards that bottom side, they also have a very flexible AD carry in this game. And T1, unfortunately, have this Olaf situation that doesn't have the augmentation that we often need from it, right? Like things like Karma, things like the Yuumi. And I was going to say that a Lulu for the mid lane suits this comp from T1 quite well. But that's not where they're going to go. Faker's Azir is very, very good. You guys may have watched the video at the beginning. There's a reason why he's that guy. But
if you want a Varus spot, they could pick him.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So that is an option. Echo is being hovered, however. It's going to end up getting locked in, so that'll outscale Azir later. Also very slippery.
And also BDD just played it.
Yeah.
And was pretty incredible on the pick. This is a lot of magic damage, LS.
Yeah, that's... I mean, it's 3 pure magic damage dealers, and then Ezreal and Volibear both deal hybrid.
Yeah.
So... this is...
not a big fan. Yeah.
God, take it away, Atlas. Just the B4, B5 of Gen.G really going for the NFL here.
Well, Nico being hovered at the moment. Here for most likely Canna. It's not going to be the Nico though, as the Aurelia is going to be switched to. 7 seconds before we do have that one confirmed. It's a pick into the Kennen, and the Sylas is going to come out. Canna's own Slicing Maelstrom, certainly an opportunity here. So T1 with a very standard looking draft. I think that the Olaf feels a bit out of place, but Cuz is still going to be able to control an early game with this kind of pickup. And we'll see whether T1 can utilize that extra pressure to get their scaling composition working.
And I think that the Sylas is another interesting pick. T1's damage is much more well-rounded than Gen.G's, but we'll have to see what ends up happening because Ezreal is a menace against all these champions. He's very, very effective against all of T1's champs. Aphelios, that is a lot of dive that he's going to have to juggle, but he has the Thresh there with him. Azir with the shuffle, so Aphelios can easily 200 years in this team composition. And that's the worrisome thing about the B4, B5 out of Gen.G is that they play into Aphelios' hands when they didn't need to.
I mean, I actually don't mind it that much because the idea of diving onto an Aphelios does feel okay, so Kennons can definitely dive if they've got Flash Up and Lightning Rush. And Echo, of course, is very good at that. So
it's not bad. It's just definitely, I mean, Aphelios is more reliant now on his summoners as well as efforts, positioning, and everything.
Yeah, true. The Thresh would certainly be the downfall of Gen.G.
Yeah. I would much rather have Gen.G's comp here than T1's.
But sometimes you've just got Faker and Teddy. And they just do things that that go against what the draft may hint at. So you did tell us at the beginning of the series that sometimes if T1 come out of a draft with a draft victory, then we're giving it to them pretty comfortably. What are your thoughts on how this looks now that we're post-draft and we have our 5 champions each?
I feel like the draft is pretty even, but the level of skill expression on Gen.G's champions are there, and it's there in a manner that works very well against T1's weaknesses. So I don't know. This one's definitely very awkward, and the Olaf also being sort of neutralized in a sense by the Gen.G overall comp and facing a Ditto in the Volibear, I think is a bit problematic. I'm excited to watch it unfold. Well, like I said, I would much rather have Gen.G's comp.
Yep. Well, we'll see how they do play it out. Certainly some options as far as making it work are concerned. But T1 do have a lot of years behind them. And they are a team that is very well known for very calmly making it to a late game. And so we'll see whether they are going to be able to do that. Cuz is going to walk immediately over a ward as cleared here. Just going to start with Gromp Blue. Just going to Sky Strike that guy to start things off. See whether there's going to be any jungle attention early. At the moment, Kellen not exactly finding the greatest trade, but Teddy down pretty low to start this one off as Ruler somehow managed to sneak that one in. Oh. That's a flayback onto Kellen. He has to remember that he's pretty squishy as this bard.
Ooh!
Meep slap.
Yeah. Definitely whiffing on a few things. And Ruler about to get level 2-2. That melee minion, as soon as it goes, actually, he elected for the Q onto Aphelios, ends up whiffing. Teddy is currently Caitlyn. Do you know all of the names?
I know the Caitlyn one.
Okay.
I have my own sort of set of them because I feel like there's a few that can be pretty interchangeable. I think that you call the Crescendum the Twitch, whereas I think of it...
The white one?
Yeah, the white one.
That's Kog'Maw.
Oh, that's Kog'Maw, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's Sivir.
Okay.
Because, you know, Chakram's similar to the disc. You know, a bit of a Xenon Warrior Princess vibe. But otherwise, you know.
What is red to you? It's Draven.
Yeah, Draven, it's definitely very Draven. Feels like Legends of Runeterra Draven, you know? I don't know why. Maybe it's because the color of the Noxus is red. Something like that.
Well,
what are the other ones? What's Infernum? Infernum's the AoE. Is that Tristana?
That is Jinx.
Oh, that's Jinx, okay.
Jinx, yeah, the blue one is Jinx. And
so a bit of a similar thing, I guess, but Teddy, you'll lose out on that trade there.
And there's Varus.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Although you could call that Ashe too.
Yeah, Varus or Ashe.
Or maybe it's just both of them. Maybe it's all of these things. He gets to be like 11 champions at once.
As it's Varus because it doesn't stun you.
Right, but it does slow you as you auto attack. So that's a bit ashy. You know? That's my argument.
Perfect.
But it's also purple, which is very Varus.
Yes.
So see, I think there's arguments both sides. Make sure you guys hit us up on Twitter and tell us which one you believe in. Maybe make your own poll. We'll try and retweet it. We're lazy. We don't do these things ourselves. As Rascal versus Canner up here towards the top side, it is going to be a range advantage for the cannon, but he's found Cuz in the jungle here, and already the flash comes out. Smite just to get a bit of health back, and Clid just bites the Olaf, sends him home, and steals his stuff.
Yeah. And so in the isolated 1v1, Volibear is going to win if he ever gets the jump onto Olaf. And so Cuz does have to be a little bit bothered by that. You can see the pings going down. Now, Kana is a little bit low on HP, but not at a threshold that's low enough for Volibear to end up diving him. Faker is getting traded on quite hard. He still has his teleport, though.
Yeah, and also trading back, so Not doing too badly there, and like you say, BDD goes back, grabs a couple of rings. As his Corrupting Potion charges already down to just one remaining. As, Ruler is in a whole host of trouble. The exhaust comes out for the flash as he walks back into the hook. And Ruler will be taken down here. Teddy grabs first blood. And I need to know how Ruler is that far up the lane. Bit of a trade up here towards topside, but that was a disaster.
Kana 5-0 on the Silas. And yeah, like what you just said, that was a very big blunder. I'm curious what the replay was, what it'll end up being. Volibear's pathing is a little bit strange, because he did the Gromp and then immediately went over to the right-hand side. So the Wolf Camp just completely neglected.
Poor little Wolf Camp.
Yeah. Silas.
Sconding. That is a lot of Kingslayer damage, but Rascal trading back very nicely. It's like two of our new success stories as far as top laners are concerned. Rascal has certainly been playing for a bit longer than Canna, but both of them defying expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. And T1, they're going to pick up first dragon of the game. This is very good for them.
Yeah, heading towards Cloud Soul. As, Ruler just... Okay. Very weird.
Yeah, just very, very strange. He had Kellen coming back down, who's on his way over. There wasn't a reason for him to do anything that he just did, and so very clean pick up there by Teddy and Effort. The gold score is still even.
Yeah, teleport onto Ruler does mean that he's able to get back to lane pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
As BDD does have level 6. Parallel Convergence to come in here. BDD just not even picking up that shield because he knows the trade was over. And Effort's down pretty low. So, looks like Gen.G are going to continue moving further forward as far as their CS advantage is concerned bottom side. And that kill is going to be very important because that might save Teddy. And so far, Kellen and Ruler, as far as just standard laning, seem to be doing much better.
Yeah, and everything is going pretty good. Cuz now dinging level 6. Clit is already level 6. Oh.
Yeah, Cuz going to pull it over as far as he can.
Yeah, they know.
Cuz not going to risk this one. Parallel Convergence will deny the Olaf from picking up his own red buff, and Clit is very, very happy to just take all of Cuz's stuff away.
Clit tells Mr. Brambleback that he's under arrest.
Yep.
As he now is going to make his way over to the Krug camp. Ruler just...
that was a flash, but Clay's going to land. That Cosmic Binding was unbelievable as Teddy's going to flash relatively late, but will save his life. And unfortunately, not able to actually answer. And I think that Gen.G were just a little bit too scared of the Olaf running down. They're not too scared of Canna, though. He's going to flash, try and get himself out of there as Canna steals away the ultimate from Clid, but still, it is not going to be enough. And Clid kind of wishes he had picked up that turret aggro a little bit earlier, but Rascal's not going to die. No harm, no foul.
And it looks like Effort is thinking about trying to set something up. He's going to end up taking the Blast Cone, but walks into a ward. Ruler backing all the way up right now. Now, when we see the replay, just pay attention to Kellen because he makes a really big blunder. Teddy should have died there every day of the week.
Probably trying to give the kill over to Ruler, but unfortunately, Ruler couldn't get up there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so, BDD hanging on to that last turret plate. Clid is actually going to pick up the Herald.
Yep, grabs that by himself. Should be able to do so pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Rip Scuttler to grab there.
Take a look at this. I mean, this is just so good. Cosmic Binding, getting the stun, and take a look at Kellen. So he actually auto-attacks. Now, if you're a player in this instance, you actually want to lower your DPS to get total greater damage dealt. So you just run at the Aphelios, and your DPS is down, but then you get 2 auto-attacks off instead of 1, damage dealt higher. Very nice dive onto the turret, the disable by Volibear. He has flash. Let's do this. Silas, no flash.
And he said, watch this before, and that's just the best. I like that. Learning how to play, teaching your teammates. how you're supposed to do it while you're playing.
And as we come back, ooh, sneaking in a Mystic shot right there. But this is the scary situation right now where the game is actually in Gen.G's favor, ever so slightly. But the second dragon's coming up in a minute. Kennen should be able to have his Proto Belt complete, Sylas as well. But it looks like Kana might have the teleport available, whereas Rascal doesn't. And Rascal's lane state is in a pretty awkward spot right now. If he would be thinking of trying to make his way over to the mountain. And so we'll see what he ends up doing here. Echo as well. In a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, Faker farming extraordinarily well this stage of the game. Currently highest CS in the game. And 22 actually, ahead of Teddy. Which is very impressive. Use Teddy as a gauge. You know that someone must be doing something pretty well if they're ahead of him. But has been stifled a little bit by the power of the Bard Ezreal. And Aphelios will have that scaling advantage. BDD comes back, he's got Sorcerer's Shoes and a Revolver. Actually a lot of damage this stage. As far as that purchase is concerned, I think pretty fresh off a shop.
Well, Mountain Drake, go!
Emperor's Divide used just to get the Chrono Break out.
Yeah,
Faker,
and that's...
of course, absolutely knew that that was going to be the response. Just to
gonna
take,
be...
Yeah.
Faker is not going to have it available. This is it's a bit scary because that really limits Azir's options in the ensuing team fight. Yes, Echo doesn't have his ultimate, but Azir being forced to not have that luxury, or well, having to be more reserved in the team fight.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I think that T1 probably would have waited up and said, like, we just want to make sure that we can kill BDD if we find him in a team fight, but the Echo will still do the same thing, even if he is going to die at the end, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I want to point out, Rascal has Sork Pen boots over Kana. They're identical in items.
Wow, it's actually very
outside of that, but that's a very big power swing. And this Mountain Drake, it can't be understated. Sylas doesn't get pen. Olaf doesn't get pen, although he does deal some true damage. Azir typically doesn't get pen, and Aphelios doesn't get it. So, well, maybe not till way later on. So it's a pretty big dragon, even if it's super minor, because Kennen, Echo, and Volibear will get resistances, and then also Ezreal, I mean, he already has the S1 Gauntlet.
Yeah, exactly.
So, quite big for Gen.G if they can find a way to pick this up. Faker has teleport, though, and Emperor's Divide is up again.
Chrono Break, not quite, but pretty close. Is Tempered Fate going to miss onto Effort? Hook is going to land there, but Teddy not going to try and get in here.
Huh?
And Aftershock going to go down as Clid takes a magical journey, but not one that he really wants to, as the bear is going to go down extraordinarily low. He has to ult to escape, which is a bit of a disaster. Undertow is going to miss, so Clid will be safe for the moment, but that is another ultimate that's unavailable. And now, Cuz should be able to move over to this Drake, and it might just be an option for him to take it. Empress Divide going to come in once again, as once again it's the
Deja
trade.
vu! It's the same trade pattern. The difference right now, though, BDD did not have enough gold to complete the Proto Belt. This might be the trade.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Exhaust thrown out there by Rascal.
Rascal wanted to get his flash available, it seems.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking this is the recall into TP. You can see Kana's actually slower to the punch. Both have Slicing Maelstrom. Oh man, Volibear.
There's the Mountain Drake. Cuz going down extremely low and has to Ragnarok his way out. This should go over to Gen.G, and it does. Good smite from Clid, and Gen.G will just steal it and walk out. So one dragon apiece, as doesn't suit T1 too badly because they do want to scale. But still, Mountain Drake, like you say, very valuable here for Gen.G.
Very good for all of their champions, especially against T1s. Ocean is pretty insane, though. It'll be very, very hard for Gen.G if T1 can manage to get to Ocean Soul.
Oh, you better believe there's a Merlin-Omicron on that cannon. So that's going to make it
Valdez
completely
listening.
useless.
I hope he can get here before game 2. But you just...
It's all right, man. He'll be here tomorrow. You don't have to deal with it anymore. But hey, look. In my defense,
I don't want to.
Okay. I'm just not even going to entertain it.
You are not my friend anymore.
I've been dumped over a book. This is so embarrassing.
Oh, man.
Well, Cannon towards the top side. He's looking to clear out this minion wave. Teleports available from both of these top laners. But a big win taking that fight, despite the fact that there were not too many kills or anything like that. Making sure that Gen.G can lock down the Mountain Drake, get some control in the area, assert some dominance, and then move forward. Because I really like how this comp works in a team fight. Tempered Fate and Parallel Convergence are just such a cool combo. Being able to almost guarantee that stun, as Rascal, I believe, just missed the Proto Belt damage, but Cannon's going to miss a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
Means that Rascal's able to trade back very well.
The other thing I really like about the Tempered Fate is it sets up for Maelstrom, or Cannon's engage, very, very well. Can buy him a lot of time.
Yeah.
As Echo is now at the point where... Is that a mask on Faker, I see?
Oh my goodness.
Well...
Not
Not something I was expecting to see.
Yep.
But Faker is going a little bit Build-A-Bear right now. He has a lot of capture, a mask, and a stinger. It looks like he's getting ready for like a fight. You know, he puts on his mask, the Lost Chapter's like a shield.
Yep.
The stinger's
He's
a
got
sword.
his sword, he's got his cool shoes.
A ring.
Yeah, he's got a ring.
And he's got his, what is it called? The metal thing that you drink out of.
A mug?
No. Ah, you know what I'm thinking of, right?
I do know exactly what you're thinking of. It's bothering me. Is Lantern is going to be taken there, Parallel Convergence, not going to find any stuns or anything like that, as Rascal in a pretty good flanking position. Minion waves coming in, though, not able to sneak around or get anything done there. Does have Flash, and T1, they know that. And they know that they're not going to be able to fight, giving such a good opportunity over to Rascal. Teddy now up here towards the top side, just trying to get as much farm back as he can. BDD. No Parallel Convergences here, as Effort does land a very, very nice hook. Nothing to come of it, and Tempered Fate also unnecessary. Bit of the initial CC had it worked, it would have been much better, but Shelly's still going to come through. Sorry, Shirley going to come through and take down that outer turret mid lane.
And they get the flash out of Faker, which is actually going to be massive for the Ocean Drake fight in a minute and a half. And things are just looking extremely rough right now. If you're a T1 fan, nothing's really occurring, and yet they're down 3,000 gold. Almost.
Yeah, slowly but surely. And it's scary if you are a T1 fan, because Gen.G's comp is going to get stronger before it gets weaker.
Yeah.
Especially as far as how these team fights are going to look holistically as these champions come together. Yes, T1 have so many scaling options, right? And when you've got a Felios and a Zia, especially in the hands of Teddy and Faker, the late game is something that T1's going to be able to thrive in. But these are sort of 3-4 item champions in comparison to Gen.G's really strong 2 and 3 item champions.
Aphelios and Azir standing side by side, it reminds me of Jin and Victor of old.
Oh, yeah.
From Season 6. So that was a good time.
Beautiful. Do you know what, actually? When I was walking past, Teddy was practicing some Jin.
Ooh, why?
I think he might have been preparing it for like a Varus answer or something like that. Not entirely sure, but he was playing some Jin, man.
Are we supposed to say that? I don't...
He was... I mean, we can talk about what he's playing, I think.
Well, it does seem like Kennen is going to go the Fabled book.
Yeah. No surprises there, as Parallel Convergence going to get a stun onto at least one of them. He's going to have to ult to get himself out. Wanted to wait so he could get some of the damage, but isn't able to, as Teddy takes the turret a little bit too much.
Out of effort.
Value.
Yeah, I mean, T1, they have 3 members pushing a Tier 2 top turret. So they're at the board meeting. You know the one where the guy gets kicked out of the window? They're at the board meeting. They're like, who can tell us what is the most important? One person raises their hand, they're like, 500 gold, Tier 2 top. One person's like, 250 divided by 3.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, should recall, not get the gold, fight the Drake maybe? And that guy, he's thrown out the window.
Yeah, get him out of here. That's not what we're talking about.
It's not a good...
As they're going to lose the Drake, they're going to lose their blue buff. They're going to lose control of this bottom side. And Teddy's going to lose a bunch of his health, as Ruler does nail that ultimate. First couple of items have come in here for the Ezreal. Iceborne Gauntlet and that Mana Mute, looking for his Neuramana as well as his Death Stance. The Ezreal will be very, very strong. Teddy now just doing his farming thing, trying to take everything off the map. See whether he can actually catch up to Ruler. It's not really very Teddy style to not be ahead by a very large margin. But he's still staying even with the clock. We're certainly not farming badly by any means. You can see Faker, he's 243 at 20 minutes. Faker's hoovering up these minions.
Well, at this point in the game, it's just going to basically be a stalemate because there's no way for... I mean, T1, they might do a Aphelios Desperation Baron play. That could be something that they opt into. They do have Azir, but they don't have Liandry's on Azir yet. That'll really help with burning through the Baron. So it is a bit of a gamble, but Gen.G are the ones that get to decide upon which terms does every fight start. Because they're in the driver's seat, they're in control of the game, and they're the one with, I mean, each completing item being super, super valuable. They're about to get the top Tier 1 turret as well. Oh no, actually going to be repelled off.
Not bad. Effort going to turn up as well, so that should make sure that they can at least clear out the next wave. Good cosmic binding, but Undertow going to be thrown back, and no aggression going to result in this one. Teddy does have his Kog'Maw and Caitlyn, as you like to call it. Optimal team fight long-range setup.
So many people are going to be so confused for so long. And
I know, because we're just saying random champion names that aren't in the game.
He's got Cog and Kate right now.
Yeah. Or, you know,
he's Chameleon.
I think we definitely agree on Calibrum being Caitlyn. That is 100%
yes,
we agree.
That is 100% Caitlyn.
Unless it's like level 18 Tristana, but that's a little bit too wordy.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Like 7 stack 100. I'm not going to say that either. 200 stack Senna.
I'm a very big fan of Aphelios.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like to complain about him, but I think he's fun. I think he's genuinely
he's
exciting. Yes.
And I think he adds, you know, a different minigame. We were talking about the Alawi minigame, which is you have to make sure that you're the first one to an objective, otherwise you're probably going to lose. When Aphelios is in the fight, if you fight on his terms, he will probably kill your whole team.
He is a conditional hyper, and that's what's exciting about him. But also, I mean, that's where the counterplay comes in. He's conditional hyper, not all-around hyper. So, very, very cool. And right now, T1, they are just sort of coasting. 3,000 gold deficit, roughly. Infernal Dragon still on their side, so you do have to remember that.
Yeah, Ocean Drake going to be up in a minute and a half. That will be Soul Point available for Gen.G if they are able to lock that one down. But not exactly imperative that T1 does deny it.
And the thing I want to point out, so neither team is actually freezing side lanes whatsoever. That is something that they could do. Kennen just sent the wave into Azir, he could freeze. He could take this wave, he could freeze. What's he going to do? No doubt, QE.
Yeah, you watched it QE, didn't you? Oh, no.
He's going to QE. Now, just to take a look at Sylas up here in top lane. Now, Echo is relatively safe because the range on his Q, so it's a little bit more difficult, especially given that Bard is already in close proximity. But everyone's just playing ping pong with each other. Teddy can pull this wave, try to do stuff. No, he's going to take a bit of a chunk, but 45 seconds until Ocean comes up. Faker does have Liandry's.
He does, and Nash's. He's upgraded both of those items, so now instead of building a bear, he's actually just got 2 straight up strong items for the Azir. Certainly going to be good for him. Rascal sitting on a stopwatch, but looks like Deathcap's going to be coming in next. Just want to get as much damage out as possible. Don't mind it. I think Void Staff going to be super valuable for this Kennen as well, and he will be doing a lot of work, especially with Sorcerer's Shoes, which we don't see all that often. Definitely a lot of Merc Treads tend to be prioritized on Kenny. The Ruler has his QSS completed. Sure, he still has that 1 death, but he still needs to be respected. This is a very scary Ezreal at this stage.
And the Bard ultimate actually goes out onto the Baron to check it, as Kellen did not want to venture into the nothingness. QSS.
Oh, Hook's going to land onto BDD. Not exactly the optimal target here for T1 as BDD immediately gets out of there with the Chrono Break.
It's still a real... Oh, man.
Okay, Rascal. Ocean Drake is live, by the way.
That's a lot of damage. Rascal was able to dish out ever so slightly.
That's actually really cool because he's gone the full.
Oh no!
Oh no, Faker. He has to take himself a lantern. It's in goes cleared. Emperor's Divide just to get the bear off him. As Teddy does put himself in a pretty good position. Cuz down extremely low as Ruler's a one-man army. Still looking for more hook. Not going to land. Flashing forward with the Arcane Shift. He's able to do a lot of work onto Effort. And now, you know, Canna finds himself as the only man really here. And this Ocean Drake should be delivered over to Gen.G.
And this is
very
for
Baron.
Yeah, they're gonna try to do the desperation Baron. Now Faker does have Nashers plus Leandries, and you can see teleport coming in by BDD.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to do this.
They're not going to be able to. They just end up getting repelled.
Okay. Faker. Yeah, exactly. This is a very sneaky bird. They're going to walk around the corner here, not going to be able to steal as, okay, Cleared, just going to wander out of that hook range. He'll be all right. Tagged up by the sentry, so we'll take an auto attack. And now T1 still chilling around this Baron. The Baron gets angry.
There's Barons.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, Cloud Templar, he told us.
Yeah, he did tell you that. It's not how you get the Honey Jam.
Still have absolutely no idea what it means.
Honey Jam?
No, not Honey Jam. Honey Jam's great. It's actually a really adorable word. It's like sort of half and half, isn't it?
Gul Jam.
Gul Jam, and then, but Gul means honey, right?
Well,
so
jam, no, the jam is actually the first syllable of Jimmy's Thaw, which means fun.
Which means...
So it means honey fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
honey
or
fun?
like super fun.
Oh, that's cute.
Like, it's so fun that it's like really sweet and nice.
All right.
Yeah.
And bees?
No, it has nothing to do with bees.
Honey has a lot to do with bees, okay?
All right, well, in the replay here, Clid was seeing a Honey Jam moment, trying to get onto Faker, but if you want to see the real Honey Jam, it's Ruler dishing out so much damage, one-man army, walking out of the range of that hook.
Seems to have his E off cooldown at exactly the right time every single time. It's ridiculous. Ruler did so much work there. As we're close to the Rabbidan's Death Cap for Rascal. We're close to the Death Stance as well for Ruler. True Shot Barrage is going to tag Effort there as well, who's now going to go home. So yes, I mean, Faker's still scaling.
Yeah.
So is Teddy.
And it looks like Kennen is actually going to go for the Death Cap here as his next item. And so Kennen is going to go for the all-in Wombo.
Oh, baby. I like it.
The one-shot. And so Bard's ultimate is that much scarier. 2.5 minutes. All that Gen.G need to do is do dances that deny any Baron attempts. And basically say, hey, the onus is on you. And this is really fun because this actually is a lot of pressure. Not pressure in a traditional sense. Every time someone hears the word pressure, they think of an attack. They think of someone exerting some force onto another person or thing.
Yeah.
But pressure can also be Gen.G basically hitting a button on a bomb and it's going to go off. And that bomb is Ocean Soul and saying, okay, do something.
Yeah, well,
and the onus is on T1. Yeah. That is pressure.
Yeah, pressure is basically saying to your opposition that this is a thing you have to do, otherwise we will get an advantage that you won't be able to stop, right? And the idea of optimal pressure is when you can do that and always guarantee that you can take more from them based on the control that you have.
Yep.
And that is most of the benefits. You talk about this with freezing a lot. Freezing's about using lack of pressure. If your opponent can't exert enough, then you can freeze to sort of create that objective like you talk about.
You're the one that basically gets to say, okay, this ICBM is going to go off soon.
Yeah.
It's up to you to defuse it. So, Fake, I mean, he's going to shove it right back so Echo can get another wave.
And I mean, actually, I don't mind this if this is about Faker getting enough money and that wave is going to do it. Then he recalls, then he can go down to the next fight.
Yep.
That's not what happened.
That's not what's happening. I get you're trying to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, I am. And
honestly,
I'm sort of ruining it for myself.
You're not looking like Keanu Reeves.
Oh, I wish I did, though. What a lovely
He is
man.
ageless.
He is.
You know, it's truly impressive.
I just love that there's an entire Reddit thread about how nice he is to everyone all the time. It's ludicrous. How can you be that much of a good person? You got an entire Reddit thread. Ugh.
Well, now one of the things that I've noticed is that when there's a lack of action, have you heard about the vanilla
ice cream?
You know.
I do want you to try and say it again, though, because that was quite a
Yeah, vanilla ice cream. So basically what happens is you start talking about things that have nothing to do.
And then you're going to guarantee some action, like if it's Flash?
Exactly.
Ooh, you got me started with like a little bit of a taste test. Now we're looking about the Baron.
A little bit.
Oh, I've never been that much of a...
Temptation, yeah.
You know, like a vanilla ice cream fan, but maybe it is just the most useful.
It definitely is.
We're playing with some vision toggling here as Gen.G, all in the fog of war.
And so right now what you're going to want to talk about is maybe a little bit of chocolate cake.
Ooh, what about the Ocean Soul?
No, that's pistachio.
Well, we are rolling.
Here we go.
The Ocean Soul is now there. The Baron is going to get tempered faded. And Clid, he's just going to roll all the way in. Teddy has to flash immediately out of the pit, as it is going to be Cuz that locks down the Baron. But can they actually win the ensuing fight? And the answer is no, but they can also opt out of it entirely. So Ocean Soul traded for Baron. LS, I've spoken to you about this before. I know your opinion, as Rascal's almost dead, but thankfully we've trimmed back a few of the years on that one, so Rascal will survive.
The LCK Atlas. Sold for Baron.
You sound ecstatic. Just so psyched
Only
about
here
this
at the
decision.
LCK can we find ways to burn boiled water.
It is really hot. Okay.
Well, T1 end up going for the Baron, and this is a giga coin flip, is what it is at the end of the day. If they lose the Baron, they lose the game. Yeah. And they are doing this not because it's necessarily bad, but they feel like this is the only chance they have. Now, they could have done this at Ocean Soul. Well, they would have to take a head-on fight at Ocean Soul, whereas they get to use the Ocean Soul as a means to buy some time. The problem is that the Baron will dissipate in a minute and a half. You can see the power play is not that impactful. And even with the Baron's stats, they will lose the fight. So
yeah, Ocean Soul's pretty strong.
Now, what ends up happening is T1 need to play Possum, in a way.
Okay, that's a deep teleport there from BDD. He's slowed down by the box, immediately goes golden to allow the rest of his team to move on over, but Canna and Faker, they're going to get in position a little bit sooner.
Back to top lane.
Gen.G do just move on back. Canna picks up a tempered fake, gets a flash out of Kellen, as you can see. Already pretty high value. Mystic Shot going to miss there under effort. Keeping that health bar as high as possible. Important against Ruler's poke that he is going to offer.
And 1 minute remaining. So T1 will probably raise the mid-tier 1 turret. And that'll be the extent of it. Now, what they're going to end up most likely trying to do is wait for Elder, and then that'll be the last hurrah. But they're... Okay, well, Faker checks that brush.
But
it really feels like he's about to get flanked on. Oh, no.
Oh, what? Damn. You just got to trust him. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything, guys, but it was very cute that he just snuck around and then didn't even get spotted. Okay, so that gold lead, like we were talking about, is going to dissipate. Baron power play, 1800. It's an Ocean Soul, though. And we were praising T1 for, you know, building Leandries and all this sort of stuff, but now they desperately need something to stop all of the healing. The irony here is that Gen.G didn't need it at all. They were able to take all of these Ocean Drakes, and therefore the Morellonomicon looks a little bit silly.
Yeah.
Although Kingslayer, I guess, is important if Rascal's going to find Canna in the side lane.
Well,
that's a stretch, to say the least. Okay. But it's not going to be able to find too much.
We got now we are due for a kill in the next 6 minutes. We got 1 kill per 10.
That's true. That's true.
So you're looking for some act. Now, we could try to spice things up a bit, but we won't.
No. Don't do that. I don't want the game to go too fast. Kills, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the vanilla ice cream. Oh, that's what I'm here for. Do you like waffle cones or regular cones?
Oh, Atlas, right now I am on a diet. You need to stop talking. Okay?
Do you do like
Atlas.
cardboard containers for a salad or plastic?
Yes. Oh, yes. Why, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was aware that you've been having salads for lunch recently. That's all I had to go with. All right. What's your opinion on kale? Are we feeling good about kale?
The champion?
No, not the one that ascends at level 16. The one that shrivels up in your oven and you call them chips.
Nope, not a big fan.
I actually quite like kale.
You do? Yeah.
It's put a bit of olive oil, still relatively healthy, crispy and delicious. My sister was a huge fan. She was on a bit of a health kick for a while there. You know, I digress a little bit. I was hoping that talking about, you know, salad and vanilla ice cream would probably inspire the players to stop this game of ping pong and instead move towards fighting one another. Yeah, there's an Elder, there's a Baron, and are we just going to trade and just have gentleman's agreement? Let's see which buff's better.
Well, honestly, I mean, I don't really know what T1 is expecting to happen at the Elder fight, because it should be pretty one-sided. I like the atomization out of Teddy. The Maul Malmortius is very important, but double Void Staff out on the primary AP carries.
Oh, I love that Rascal skipped the Zhonya's as well to make sure he had Death Cap Void Staff. He does so much damage.
Yeah. Yep. He still has the stopwatch. Elder is in 5 seconds, so this is definitely very scary. Now, I'm a little bit curious why Gen.G doesn't have one member starting it, given that they have Ocean Soul. Everything is pretty fine.
Yeah, they're instead looking to relinquish the mid lane as ruler, looking for effort.
Oh, that hurt.
Bit of damage. Teddy not going to find the Qs. Optimal weapons are in. Does have the Cogmore Kate. The Kate More, as you say.
The Coglin.
Yeah, Coglin. Coglin's a good one. It's not going to land.
Oh, man.
Down to half health. Oh, parallel convergence. He's going to get a big shield there for BDD as Canna gets that slicing Maelstrom. Massive damage into the backline as Clid tries to make his way out as Effort gets all the way forward, and T1 have found their dream team fight. The True Shot Barrage does absolutely nothing. Teddy flashing in, and it looks like the Elder Drake will be taken, and now Canna just teleporting in. You're exactly right. I think they're going to try and end the game.
The minions. I don't know. Okay, so Ezreal is now. Is he gonna get a stopwatch and try to my body as a shield it? Kellen's up in 5.
They're gonna try and go for it as Teddy does a lot of damage to these turrets. Effort getting taken down pretty low. That's an instant QSS, but I don't know whether it's gonna be enough. Ruler makes a lot of distance as Kellen does turn up. We've got Tempered Fate going to be available relatively soon, but the Nexus is getting taken down. Empress Divide, that's the game, and T1 steal it from Gen.G.
It's 911, I'd like to
had a heart attack. That's what they do. They lull you into a false sense of security. I mean, that last team fight was a lot about what Canna did.
Fresh save to Philios.
True.
That's it.
All right.
That's gonna be.
Got the hook on Ruler in lane, you know, allowed Aphelios to do a bit more damage maybe in that instance. My goodness, that was unexpected.
That was Grand Lord. DB Cooper has nothing on this. I have no idea. We take a look at the team fight, and some anti-synergy there. Clid about to get the stun onto Teddy, and take a look. Teddy manages to get out. The Lantern gets him to safety, and Kana with a really good slicing Maelstrom. Everyone funneled up. And so
Everyone popped.
There's like two things happening here. One, T1 really capitalized on the opportunity presented to them. Two, Gen.G very off synergy, or just that was very weird.
Yeah,
that was a robbery.
I actually have a feeling that was all on that tempered fate. It denied that ability from even doing anything from the volley bear. I think that then you have B2D immediately follow up before anything else can happen. It had to be a whoopsie, right? It had to be a whoopsie. Because Gen.G was in such a good position
they were
for that
so
team
far
fight.
ahead.
My God. Well, once again, we have a team that prioritizes Baron over Soul and they win. Hopefully that isn't a sign of them, you know...
Alice, I don't know. Baron's the most important objective. Look at the results.
That's how I base my analysis. Did you know that? Yeah, got to get as many Barons as possible. That was a messy game, but it felt like it was all in Gen.G's control until that one moment. Just...
My Deuce 7 beat your aces all in pre-flop, so you suck.
Well, I guess so. You know?
That's how it is.
Sometimes you just show them cards, and the result's just not what you think. But we're going to come back for a game number 2, and we'll see whether T1 are going to get that 2-0 that they desperately need.
이거 뒤 끝내면 될 듯?
상도이 잘 걸었다. 나이스.
잘 걸었다.
좋았다. 다행이다.
잘 끝내보자. 나한테 바둑궁이랑 볼베 플래시 뭔데?
근데 게임하기 너무
이거 빨리 밀어보자. 근데 거의 끝났어.
끝난 거 같아.
불리한 거 같아 나.
바텀
이거 바드 10초. 바드 궁대 이거. 빨리.
괜찮아. 끝날만해.
바둑궁 없어 상호야. 안 도나?
할만해. 끝났어. 1.4해. 끝난다.
1.4. 이거 타워 억지로 맞아주면 안 돼. 얘네가 거리 없는 봐. 이거 타워 쳐.
안 잡을게.
안 잡고 타워 줘. 안 잡고 타워 줘.
안 뛸게. 안 잡을게. 이거 점사해야 될 것 같아. 점사. 잘해봐. 점사할게.
잘 봐.
잘 봐. 나이스.